Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to a review of a brand new locomotive on the channel. This is a special locomotive for a special friend. This goes out to Dr. Hyena. He's a good friend of mine and a fellow YouTuber. He is also one for LEGO trains and he has lots of ideas and lots of potential. He's still in the beginning phase, but he has all of my support, and I do encourage you to go over to his channel and show him your support as well. His link will be in the description, and tell him I said hello. We've been chatting a lot, and he has this picture, this dream, so to say, of his ultimate locomotive. For my channel, like Emerald Champion has been the train to go through so many changes and ultimately become this face of the railway. You can argue with Big Red if you want, but that's with you. The whole point of this locomotive is that that's his version. And I suggested some ideas, we went back and forth with some things, and I said to him, is it alright if I could make my own version? He's like, yeah, of course, go for it. And given that I have a larger variety of bricks available, and plenty of wheels to spare, I'll get into those in just a moment, this is what I came up with. So, you may have also noticed that the Stevenson's Champion and Orange Bullet trains have also been scrapped and have been put to use in this model. I must also say that this is not a final version of any kind. This is version 1.0 and it will go through more changes in the future. There are things I want to do to improve this. There's a lot of stuff I'm not really happy with, but for now this looks good. I am very pleased, especially the front. It's a good thing we go from front to back, because this is something I really want to show off. I might need to actually take this off to actually get it into better light. Look at the buffers at the front of the locomotive. So I'm going to have to do this for the sakes of lighting. I do apologise that I'm kind of ruining the look of the ultimate train. However, we will get a few shots at the end of the video of this thing in action. Look at that. So I was trying to achieve a sort of, not a streamlined look so to say, but a nice angle at the front where the buffers kind of protrude out. It was a very odd look, and it's obviously not something you would put into a locomotive. You wouldn't have it come out and stick out in this sort of T-shape. You would just have the two buffers come out as their own little cylinders about there. But come on, this looks very different, and they're golden as well. They are golden buffers, look at those. Oh, that really does look good, and that's a detail I really want to stick around. So if I there we are. So when you see it compared to the front as well, that sort of front look looks spectacular. I think I've done pretty well with the front. We have flags, one on each side, because 2 flags is better than 1. And as I mentioned earlier, this is something that uses parts from Stevenson's Champion and Orange Bullet. The funnel is a big old funnel, and it looks a bit odd because it doesn't look attached to the front of the train in any way. I'm probably going to have to change that so it's square at this sort of back area, so it actually connects to the boiler. But for now, that is good with me. It's, again, like I said, not a final version. I've been up all day and all night last night in order to try and make this thing as it is. And yeah, so we got that. The idea with the boiler as well was a bit odd, because with this idea of having a massive funnel at the front again, it's only 4 studs wide, and the boiler is 6. You can get those, hang on, some of these slope bricks over here, without breaking everything. Okay, good. You can get these in yellow, but I have been making a lot of stuff recently with the challenge of not buying any bricks on Bricklink, because I've spent so much money doing that, and I really don't want to go through that again. I don't mind having to doing it for this one because of what the ultimate goal is. But yeah, for now I'd rather just try and avoid spending money. I'll stick with what I've got. If I need to buy stuff, then sure, I will. But again, that's for a later date. So with the whole boiler being 6 studs wide, I've tried to figure out a way to smooth it into the front here. And the way I've tried to do that is to follow that sort of sloped look from the bricks, where it kind of goes down this way but also curves in. And with this 3x4 slope brick as well, I think I've been able to capture that quite well. That also creates that square look at the front, so that would actually help if the, what's it called again? The funnel, that's it. The funnel was modified ever so slightly to have that square piece at the back. So going along, you've noticed the wheels. There are four sets of drivers, but they're all kind of connected in a way. So all these 8 wheels are actually connected onto one base, and those 8 wheels are connected to another. Technically, this is a quadruplex, but this follows a design that I discovered about a year ago, I'd say, a year and a half maybe. When was the summer of the quadruplex again? 2.5, 3 years now? I don't know. But yeah, it was actually quite a long time ago when I discovered this. It's an American design on a Pennsylvanian streamlined locomotive, so anyone from America, you might recognise this. It is a 4644, I think. You could argue it's a 410-4, but the idea of the drive wheels, they have, like, the front 4 have their own set of cylinders at the front of the boiler, and the second set, like the last 6, have their own set of cylinders at the back of the boiler, but they're all fixed to one unit. So imagine like it is now, but there's one set of cylinders there and one set of cylinders there, just for this lot. It's a very odd way of trying to explain it, but if you just went onto Google Images and typed in Pennsylvanian 4644 train, again, it's either 4464 or 4644, I can never remember. There are designs for both, but yeah, look it up in your own time, you'll understand what I mean. But the idea of that has generated a very unique look. It's very weird to see so many wheels with their own small rods turning in one go. But again, I quite like this. Now, I was going to say something else, but what the hell? Yeah, that was it, the wheels themselves. So, you may have noticed, these are the 3D printed Shapeways wheels. I haven't used these in a very long time. And with the recent modifications made to Big Red, that freed up a set of red wheels. And I put those on the, what the hell is it called again? The BR23. I'll focus on one thing, you forget about everything else. So that made these available, and it was a nightmare to work with because they're 3D printed. Thankfully they are behaving, and again, as you see now, they're being put on the model. I do want to make some modifications to this. I think I might save that for the end though. Yeah, I think I'd rather save that sort of announcement towards the end. Okay. Let's move a little further back so we actually go across the boiler. Because it's a yellow train, yellow is very difficult to work with. And the idea of this train, so Hyena calls it Sunset Beauty. I'm just going to call it Sunset because, well, it's one less word to say, and I think if I'm going to really call it a Sunset Beauty, it needs to look at its absolute best. Here and now, it doesn't. So I need to figure out a way to make these colours work together a lot more. So I've made a red stripe going along the middle of the boiler. I've got orange details going across, some more black details, these sort of pipe pieces. I might get rid of those because they don't really look too nice. But yeah, I'm swapping and changing things out. I'm giving it all a go. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot to mention. The whistle is at the front of the boiler. If you look to the British, I think it's A4s, whatever, it's not A1s. I think A1s was the series where Flying Scotsman was in. I think A4s is the one with Mallard and Silver Jubilee. I can never remember with those either. But the whole point of those locomotives, the whistle was right at the front, and I thought it would be nice to probably mimic that by having the whistle up here instead of down there. Speaking of down there, here's the cab. It is quite spacious, I must say, very tall, given that we got some smaller wheels for the cab to sit on, unlike past models where they've just sat on the drive wheels and they've been lifted all the way up there. Again, the roof, as you can see, uses orange bricks just to kind of use those colours more. I've got 3 minifigures inside the cab as well. There's no firebox details like inside the cab around about here, which is something I really need to do more work with because some of the cabs for some of my engines are just empty boxes and I don't really like that. If I'm going to have some proper engines on my railway. Those are details I absolutely need to work on. But for what this is, that's not bad. This really isn't too bad for a front locomotive. Especially when you see all those wheels. All those wheels. Right, I need to move the locomotive itself off the track so I can focus on the tender. Give me a sec. Here we are at the tender. So this looks very weird as well. This is something that people may recognise. Again, going back to Stevenson's Champion, this is the base used for the second tender, and it's just been rebuilt in a slightly different way to suit its new owner. These orange details between the wheels were yellow. This goes towards the thing that I might say, or I will be saying later on, about the changes I need to make to this train. But let's get to that at the end. So you can see I've got a little bed at the front where people in the cab can shovel the coal. I've got coal sitting along the top, and it's not really a good thing to see it like this. The whole point of it, it's actually all empty. All the coal sits up here and it all kind of slopes downwards to actually get to the cab. So this sort of wall will be covered in black bricks. Ideally I'm going to get enough 1x1 circle pieces to cover this bed here. I might even have to replace that bed with some black pieces, or even sit them on black pieces. And yeah, it's weird. It looks really weird like this, but again, it's only version 1.0. It's going to go under. It's going to undergo some changes. That's what I'm trying to say. Fucking Nora. These gate pieces are amazing. I had these originally for the Greyhound, which is a very old train that hasn't been around for a very long time and will never come back. I've had people saying to me, please rebuild that train. No. But I've been able to put them to use again here, which is a good thing, because if you go to if you make orders on Bricklink and you buy those bricks and do what I do where you don't use them anymore, it becomes like a wasted money thing then. You've bought something and you've not used it. But it's nice to be able to use things like this, and it just brings more details to life on the model. Again, going back here with some more colours, we got this sort of spoiler thing. I think that would be the best word for this, a spoiler. I don't know what else you would really call that. It's not a spike, which is what I nearly said. But again, it's something I used on the past model. It's a different detail. It stands out. It's being put to good use, and I think it looks really good though. The red stripe does carry over from the boiler. I don't actually know if that's level, because every test I've made, it's either a little bit above or a little bit under. The only real problem is when I go to put the two together, it is the same. It's not one plate above or under. It's just because of an uneven surface or something like that, which is really daft. Even on when I've taken this to like a wooden table downstairs, I've made it all level out to a weird way, but I've had to kind of wiggle it around. It's weird, but I think as it is there is as level as it's going to get. I don't know if about this bar thing along here. Do you think that looks better without the bar? Obviously I'll have to move these slow bricks forward. I think it would be better if that bar wasn't there, because it's a lot more open. If I just keep that along there, that's going to cause some restrictions. Yeah, I think I'll have to get rid of that. Alright, that's something else to go for the newer model when I go to make the changes. Right, before I actually put the boiler back onto this track, let me show you something. There we are, look at that. Doesn't sound smooth, but it really is nice. It runs very well, and seeing all of those wheels turning like that, it's spectacular. It's such a unique sight. Okay, so these are the things I wanted to say at the end of the video. Some of the changes I wanted to make. So when me and Hyena were talking back and forth, he said how he wanted this to be like his standout train. So I said to him, if you're going to go with this sunset idea, I think it would be nice to use red wheels or an orange base with a yellow boiler, which is what I've done here. Not very visible, but we have red wheels on an orange base. My finger, there we go. Red wheels, orange base, yellow body. You can barely see the orange, and you can barely see the red either. So the changes I'm going to have to make are to get either those red wheels on a black base, move the orange up to the boiler, and put the lower level of the boiler is going to be orange, with the top half of the boiler being yellow. That I don't mind doing. That could work. Or I could swap those red wheels out for the black XXL wheels. Use red for the base of the wheels. And the boiler would stay the same. I'll have to put orange into the boiler. It's a difficult thing to try and think about in your head, but it is something that will happen and can work. It's just a matter of actually applying it. It's also a matter of trying to get the bricks around and, you know, hoping that you don't have to buy anything, because if I get to a point where I have to buy some bricks to get things to work, that's going to really set me back, because that's not something I want to do. I want to be able to use my money for more practical things in the future, but here and now, this is as it is. It's a very cool train. I have shown Dr. Hyena what he thinks about this train. He likes it. That's a good thing. That means I've done a good job at this. So yeah, let me know what you think about this train as well. It is going to be changed probably immediately after this video is done. But this is a special something all the way from the Hyena Lego Railway. So thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye.